Quincy Valstandike. So, after watching episode number 3, I gotta tell y'all, like, I am still kind of in, like, shock and awe. Like, this episode was incredible. But I am just, like, in shock and awe, and I'm still, like, in an absorption mode. Like, I'm still absorbing all of the insanity, the crazy amount of info that we just learned. And maybe you didn't learn for the first time, but me as an anime only dude over here, I learned for the first time. And like, I am still in full absorption mode, trying to kind of like really piece everything together and make sure that my thoughts are really coherent on the episode. But one thing that I gotta let you know right up front, if you clicked on the video, this episode was absolutely incredible. Like, this was a 10 out of 10. Like, Bleach has always been on another, like, on a higher tier for me, in like my top 10 list. I have like I have Yu Yu Hakusho, and I have Bleach, and then I have Dragon Ball, right? So it's like I have these like really old anime that I've watched kind of like since I started watching anime, and Bleach is one of those, right? Like, I think when I initially started watching, anime, it was kind of like, it went from like Dragon Ball, Sailor Moon, Gundam. Then it went into, Yu Yu, and then, like, we have these anime here. So it's like, Bleach is one of those first ones I remember watching, like, when I started in high school, and, like, it was one of those ones that just kind of, like, always hits home. So for me, even if there are some things to critique here, at the end of the day, like, this is masterpiece class to me. Like, this is incredible, and I'm just having an awesome time watching it. But holy shit, this whole Quincy narrative here, like... So we learned a few different things, and I think that this is where I want to start. So we learned that, yes, in fact, because of the Quincy extermination project that the Soul Reapers kind of like the project that they had entrusted in and taken and enacted 200 years ago, the Quincies were in fact exterminated. But there was a separate group, a separate militia, I should call them, a separate subsection of Quincies that were called the Waldenstein or whatever it is, right? That you had these separate subset of Quincies that were doing their own experiments and their own projects and their own, trying to figure out their own way to go and really, power themselves up and really, elevate what a Quincy is. And because they went against traditional Quincy teachings and things of that nature, the Ishida family, which is where Uryu, where he kind of stems from, where his family stems from, the Ishida family basically outcast them, so they were no longer part of the Quincy main thing. At which point that they outcasted them, I am not sure, but they basically outcasted them, a long time ago, and they basically said, you guys aren't a part of us, like the main Quincy family. So when we talk about the extermination project, or when not we, they talk about it, right? They're referring to the Quincy proper mains, but you have this subsection, this Waldenstein, you have this like German, very, I also love how this subsection of Quincy's are very rooted in like old 1940s German, kind of like army, stuff. Like, I really, really love that quite a bit. I really dig that quite a bit. So you have all of this stuff that we learned here today, and this was all captured in a lot of different notes by Uryu's master, right? And Uryu's dad has all this information there as well, so he was able to finally learn about all of these things that are inner working and stuff. So I just think that is an incredible story to tell, and I really love kind of like where it's going here. So we have all of that, and we learned all of that. Now, there was one statement that I was a little iffy about, because when the 12th captain, when the captain of the research and development team was talking to the head captain, he had basically told him, like, what's happening now is due to your misjudgment by not killing the Quincy boss 1,000 years ago. So I'm just like, how, like, the way I've always understood it is, the Quincies have they can tap into the reishi. They probably have a longer longevity, a longer life than the normal human kind of thing. But at the same time, it's like, how did this boss person, live this long, and what happened 1,000 years ago that our head captain the Soul Reapers failed to actually eliminate this dude. Now I'm assuming his longevity is due to them being able to absorb all the reishi in the way that they do, just like we saw that huge fight right now between the Tres Bestia and that specific Quincy right now. We saw his fight in Hueco Mundo. And I think, we saw him absorb all the reishi there, including him absorbing the monster that the Tres Bestia had created. So I'm assuming that has to play into maybe them living a lot longer than, the normal Quincy, the normal human. So there's definitely more that I definitely want to know there, but my interest absolutely peaked. The other thing that I was like, holy shit, that occurred too is apparently with everything that's been occurring with these mass destruction of hollows in the real world, there's been a huge disturbance into the kind of like the cycle of souls. So again, the 12th captain enacted I guess a genocide of 28,000 souls, and he basically eliminated all these souls to basically keep the balance of the soul cycle. And I was like, holy crap. So head captain was kind of going into him as well. Then the episode ends with we saw Kira, man. We saw Kira get like half his body blown out. Like, oof. Like, I felt some kind of way. Like, that's the one thing about like this war is characters that that you saw for so long in Bleach proper, right? And prior to this, them getting like, we saw first we saw the head captain's lieutenant first, and now we're seeing Kira like his body get blown out. I'm like, no, like blow out these dudes that we just met like 2 episodes ago. Don't do our OG triple OGs. So, but we saw the Quincy attacks, and we saw kind of like what they look again, the Waldensteigs. They look hella freaking dope too. Like, again, rooted in this German history that they have. I absolutely love it. But we saw these flames of reishi come up, and this attack is next level. But one of the things that was interesting about that is the attack was initiated when the captain or the Quincy captain, the Quincy leader, learned that Ichigo was being distracted or was fighting in Hueco Mundo. That's when he decided to go and invade the Soul Society. So they have Ichigo listed as a special threat, which tells me that he is like he obviously he's our main protagonist, but he's going to be the thing to determine what happens in this war. They have cascaded him to be a special threat. So the fact that he was being distracted is their cause to go and attack Soul Society means like he is something special. And it's probably because of the way that he got his powers, because he's kind of like a Rankar, he's kind of hollow, he's kind of Soul Reaper. His powers aren't necessarily like in one, they're not formed in a traditional sense. And the way he calls upon his powers aren't traditional. And even in this one, right, he was able to kind of break through the reishi absorption and stuff. He was able to break through the Bankai absorption before in like the first episode and stuff. So we know that he's going to be kind of the unknown chess piece on the board, the reverse Uno card. And I can't wait to see more about that and how that's going to come into play. But we definitely know that the Quincy captain guy is definitely worried about Ichigo, and he's going to be the thing to separate them. So, man, I could probably talk more because I have that was only like half of my notes. I could probably talk a lot about it, but the thing I'll say is the OP is a fun old school vibe. I absolutely love the OP. I know that I'm kind of just like word vomiting excitement here, but if you like Bleach, I can't imagine you're watching this and you don't really like Bleach. It'd be so weird. There's been there's hundreds of episodes at this point. To watch this and not like it, to be a fangirl or fanboy a little bit about it. It's kind of a weird thing. That's like watching the 982nd episode of One Piece, but being like, One Piece, right? It just doesn't make sense to me. So I think it's completely okay that I'm like, hey, this is awesome. And they did not drop the ball so far, and I'm completely invested and interested in this Bleach comeback. But I'm going to stop there. Let me know what you guys thought. Let me know what you think about all the information dump. Let me know what you think about this episode. Put it down in the comments below. Let's chat about it. And as always, I'll see you guys next Monday. Peace, my friends. Bankai!